Welcome to the kitchen of the Pampered Chef of Texas. It's Sunday evening and you know what that means. We're going to be cooking dinner, and thanks to our host and the poll that was conducted, we have decided to make lemon chicken piccata, which I must tell you is one of my favorites, next to pasta carbonara. I'm Solis and I am your Pampered Chef consultant. So we are going to be making lemon chicken piccata, and one of the requests that we received in the party today was that we do something with a little less carbs. So we're gonna go ahead and rather than serving this over pasta, we're going to serve it over zucchini spirals, which is a great alternative if you're trying to cut carbs, or maybe you're trying to do a gluten-free dinner for your guests or family. This makes an excellent alternative, much better for you health-wise in terms of calories overall. So we've got the Pampered Chef spiralizer right here, and we're gonna go ahead and spiralize some zucchini. And you do that by just slicing up a zucchini in half and then putting it into the container there. And then you simply turn the crank, and out the side comes spirals of zucchini, which is really fantastic. Very quick, very easy. Comes out in one nice, long, continuous ribbon, which will make you think spaghetti without all the extra calories. I'm putting this in the Pampered Chef 2-quart batter bowl, and we're just gonna stick this all in here. Nice long ribbons, as you can see. I like to leave the peels on because that's where all the fiber is. And so now that we've got that in there, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna steam this today in the microwave. So I'm just going to stick it in there and get it cooking. We'll season it when we bring it out. So we'll get that cooking. So on to our lemon chicken piccata. So we have chicken breast, white meat chicken breast today. And I'm going to go ahead and use the Pampered Chef meat tenderizer, which is a really fantastic tool. And I'm going to make them a little bit thinner. So I'm gonna press them down so that they're not so thick, because it cuts down on the cooking time. It also spreads them out a little bit larger so you can cut them in half. It really is a great way to stretch your budget because you get more cutlets that way. So with this tool, it's really fantastic because it is reversible. So you can use it for poultry or beef or pork. So in the case of using something like a tough cut of meat of beef, you could put it this way and get this little spikes in there so you can get some meat tenderizing going on. But for today, we are going to use the smooth side for chicken. This is my own kitchen. I am a professional, but I'm not perfect. So when I handed this to guests at shows, they've all commented on like how heavy it is. It's almost 2 pounds. And you might wonder, like, why do you need a tool that heavy? But the great thing is it does the work for you. So all you do really is just lift and drop, lift and drop, lift and drop on the meat. And it flattens it out without you having to use a lot of muscle. Literally, all I'm doing is just lifting and dropping, and I don't want to smash it too thin. I want to leave it somewhat intact. I put plastic over it to protect the chicken breast. And that's about what I want right there. I'm going to go ahead and cut the cutlet in half. And I'm using my Pampered Chef Santoku knife. And a Santoku knife is a little bit different than a chef's knife. It's not as curved, so you don't get the rocking motion, but it's great for chopping. And also these little grantons, these little divots in there, sometimes assist things that you're slicing that might stick to the knife, not stick to the knife. And I really, really love this tool. It's one of my favorite knives. So I'm going to go ahead and dredge this. And in order to do that, I'm going to dredge it in flour, but for my particular recipe, I always dip it a little bit in lemon juice because this is a lemon recipe and I want as much lemon as I can get into this recipe. So I'm going to use the Pampered Chef citrus press, and I'm going to go ahead and press this lemon juice into these Pampered Chef dredge trays, which are really awesome. I used to use plates, which will work. The challenge is that sometimes the flour goes everywhere, or the liquid that you're trying to dredge with goes everywhere, and so this is just much cleaner. It also comes with this little Pampered Chef dredge tool, which is really fantastic. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the chicken in the lemon juice, And then I'm gonna dredge it in the flour. Get a nice dredge going on there. Get these ready for the pan. And again, your recipe may not call for lemon juice, but I really want this to have as much lemon flavor as possible, so I use the lemon juice. Then I dredge this. And this is also really great, this little tool, because you don't have to come in contact with the flour, because after about doing a half a dozen of these, you'll think you're doing a grade school paste project. Your fingers get all gummy and that's really not good. So we're gonna go ahead and get this chicken into the pan. So we're gonna come over here, and I've got the pan heating up with just a little bit of olive oil in it. These only take about 3 minutes per side, so it's no big deal to get them in and get them cooking. I'll turn up the heat a little bit more because I don't hear a sizzle, but that's fine. I don't want them to cook too fast. I want them to brown and not necessarily char. So I'm gonna go ahead and put all these in here one by one. I don't want to overcrowd the pan or have them overlapping because I want a nice smooth browning on all sides. So if this is too much chicken, I will wait and cook the second batch after, which looks like it is a little bit too much. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this up. And while that's cooking, we're going to come back over here and I'm going to work on prepping the sauce. So the sauce for this lemon chicken piccata is made with the drippings of that flour that we just put on those chicken breasts, and then of course some shallots, some garlic, and of course lemons. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my knife after I clean it real quick. We just got finished cutting chicken. And so I'm gonna go ahead and slice this in half. Now, for this particular recipe, we're gonna use the whole lemon. So typically, the sweet part of the lemon, the zest of the lemon, is that skin on the outside. So some recipes, when they're looking for lemon flavor but want sweet flavor, that's what they ask you to use. And then the meat of the lemon, the inside, is the sour, the tart part of the lemon. The pith part, the white part, is typically thought of as the bitter part of the lemon, and typically recipes do not call for the pith. But this particular recipe, we want as much lemon flavor as possible, so we're gonna use the entire lemon. So I'm gonna cut off that tip. Probably won't use that tip, but then I'm gonna try and cut these as thinly sliced as possible.
Because all of this is gonna go into the making of the sauce. And then this half, that part.
Fantastic. Okay, great. So we've got all that ready, and I hear the chicken sizzling now. So I'm gonna come over here and take a look at it. Yep, it's starting to brown, but it hasn't been 3 minutes yet, so we're gonna go ahead and let that cook. And as soon as those are browned, I'm gonna go ahead and show you how to put together the sauce. Okay, I've gotten all the chicken browned lightly. It's mostly cooked all the way through, but I'm gonna reintroduce it to the pan as soon as I finish making the sauce. So it will have just a little bit more cooking time. So I'm gonna go ahead and make the sauce now, and I'm using my Pampered Chef family skillet, which I'll talk about in a minute. But I'm gonna go ahead and add in about half a cup of some onion and shallot. Shallots are like onions, but they're a lot more mild. And so this recipe calls for that mild flavor. And then I've used about 3 cloves of small cloves of garlic. So I want just a little bit of garlic in there. I've gotten salt and pepper to taste. So see if that's enough when we taste it later. These are my Pampered Chef prep bowls, by the way. These are really fantastic to have because I can make all the ingredients in advance and then just throw them into the recipe as I'm needing them. And I'm also using the Pampered Chef Skinny Scraper, which is fantastic because it's made of silicone and that head is heatable up to multiple hundreds of degrees, so it won't melt. I'm gonna go ahead and put in a half stick of butter, which I just kind of started to melt. gonna get those things browning. Oh, let me take a second to preview something that's coming out in fall. So I just got mine today. They're not for sale yet, but they will be for sale in September. So these are the new Pampered Chef wooden spoon lines, and the head, much like the scraper I just demonstrated for you, is also made of silicon, so heatable up to multiple hundreds of degrees without melting. And now it's got this very nice wooden handle. So a pretty classy piece of equipment. I'm gonna go ahead and use it for the first time. And I'm going to go ahead and get those onions sweating and browning. And as they do that, the next ingredient I'm going to add is those wonderful lemons that we cut up earlier. So I've got this Pampered Chef cutting board, a flexible cutting board, which is really fantastic because you can just take it over to the dish and then drop it right in. Much easier to handle than a rigid cutting board. So I've got these onions in here now, and I've got this all cooking. And I want to let those onions, or rather those lemons, start to get soft before I reintroduce that chicken. So I've turned up the heat a little bit. Yep, I have. And so we're gonna go ahead and let that saute. In the meantime, I've gone ahead and brought over my dredge pans because I'm still gonna use these ingredients. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that lemon juice in there because too much lemon is not a problem with this particular recipe. And then the flour that we dredged those chicken breasts in should thicken up this sauce a little bit. If you've ever ordered this particular item on a menu in a restaurant, you know that it comes with this sort of thickest sauce. That's just from the flour that was dredged on the chicken. So give me a second to talk to you about the pans. So I'm using my antique cooking pan. It's the Pampered Chef family skillet that's not offered anymore because I bought this, gosh, more than 20 years ago. And the thing that's great about the Pampered Chef cookware, this particular pan, and the pans that are currently offered is they come with a lifetime warranty. So why would I ever need to replace this pan? However, back in the day, the handle was oven safe, which was really great because I could make things in the oven with it. But I always would forget that this would conduct heat. And so that was always a bad thing because you had to use pot holders. However, the new Pampered Chef cookware, this is the new skillet, is wonderful because it's a stainless steel pan and it's got this quadruple coating on it that makes it safe to use metal utensils in it without fear of scraping it. And the other thing that I love about these new pans is that the handles are removable. And so it doesn't conduct heat anymore. So you don't have to worry about putting the whole handle in the oven. You can just put the pan in the oven and then you can go ahead and put this back on when you need it. All the handles are interchangeable with all the pans, which is really fantastic. It's great because it makes it easy to store in a cabinet. You don't have to worry about the handle. You can stick that in a drawer. And then it also makes it real easy to put these into the dishwasher because you know how those handles get all over the place when you're trying to put things in the dishwasher. Love the new cookware. Cannot wait to get my really big skillet that's going to replace my family skillet. Okay, so I've got these going and they are starting to soften up, but I do want them to cook a little bit longer. But it's time to reintroduce my chicken to this and let it simmer for a little bit. And so I'm going to use these Pampered Chef tongs, which are really fantastic because, again, silicone at the end, and so heat resistant up to many, many degrees. And we're going to go ahead and get it all simmering on low for just a minute. Get that lemon flavor into this chicken. I'm going to turn down the heat a little bit. I'm going to put the lid on it. Because we definitely want to make sure that chicken is cooked all the way through. I only browned it about 3 minutes on each side, so even though that's enough to cook it probably, I want to make sure, because chicken's one of those things you cannot serve rare, obviously, so, or uncooked. So we're going to go ahead and let this saute for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will go ahead and plate it. We are getting ready to plate our lemon chicken piccata for the party today. And so I wanted to take a second to talk to you about hosting your own party. Today's recipe was brought to you by our host and her guests who decided that they wanted to see lemon chicken piccata. Maybe there's something you would like to see. Maybe there's something I can prepare for you and your guests. Or maybe you have like an old family recipe that you would like to see demonstrated for all of your family and friends to share. I'd be happy to host a party for you, and there's a great benefit to hosting a party. We had a friend who just closed his party this week, Garrett in Austin, Texas, who walked away with 5 half-price items, $500 of any way he wanted to spend them in the Pampered Chef catalog, and you can do that too by considering hosting a party. I will be happy to tell you how to achieve that. So give me a call, give me a shout out. It's all covered under this video in the beginning and at the end on the screen, and so give me a ring and let's set that up. So we're ready to plate this. I've gone ahead and put the zucchini out after it cooked in the microwave for about 8 minutes. And the reason it was really good to cook in the microwave as opposed to sauteing is zucchini has so much water content. And so when you are putting zucchini in the pan, it's going to sweat a lot of moisture, which means it's really going to steam anyway. So cooking it in the microwave and steaming it that way is really no different than steaming it on the stove. It's just quicker. So that's the way we did that. I went ahead and added capers after I turned off the camera last time, so there's capers in here on top of that. And so we're going to go ahead and put all these breast cutlets out on this bed of zucchini. Again, replacing typically the pasta that I would probably prepare. If I wanted to make a gluten-free recipe, instead of using wheat flour to coat these chicken breasts, I could have used rice flour, which would have made it a gluten-free recipe. And so now that I've got that all out, I'm gonna go ahead and put all the sauce, that wonderful sauce that came out of this recipe, pouring all that lemon and onion sauce over it. Lastly, I'm going to go ahead and put some Italian parsley over the top. And you have a dish that you'd be happy to serve to your family on a Sunday evening, just like we're spending here in Austin, Texas. We hope you've enjoyed today's demonstration, and we hope you have a happy and delicious week.